Hi everyone, and welcome to our Touch Base Thursday for June 16th. I am on time officially at 7:01. I call that on time lately. I've been, I know, kind of late the last couple times with some internet issues, but I think I've got them figured out on my computer. So once you are finding me live, please comment and tell me hello, and we will get started here in just a couple of minutes. Hi Carol, and welcome. So yes, the last couple weeks I've been a little late. My computer that I use for seeing all of your comments hasn't been letting me hook up to our internet. But kids to the rescue, and Natalie has fixed it. So I am live with you on time tonight. Hello to Courtney and Philomena and Carol. Welcome everyone as you're all jumping on here today or tonight for our get together. I don't have a 3D project. I'm so bummed, but I thought I had one more pack of this Abigail Rose Designer Series paper, and it's not the right one. It's the penciled black and white one. So I couldn't make the cute little project that I was going to share with you, but I'll make a version of it in a different paper, and I'll make sure you see it, or I'll showcase it when I get my paper in. So I apologize, but I have my pieces and parts for cards and things, so I was pretty bummed when I came down here to do that and realized that I made that mistake. So assuming I had the right stuff, because it's flowers. But anyway, so welcome again to Touch Base Thursday for June 16th. I'm not sure how it's the middle of June already. June has just been a blur for me, as most of you know. I'm getting off graduation stuff and finally getting caught back up and back into life with my job and my fun Stampin' Up job. But taking a week off from both, like literally, and not doing a whole lot of anything. The email that came in from my job was just crazy. And so anyway, it took a while to get caught up, but I think I am there. So anyway, but like normal, it's crazy busy weeks for me still. So this week we actually had Natalie's orientation at CMU. So she is all registered and set and ready to go for her fall semester. And it was kind of funny because they invite, a supporter or they call it your parents or your family supporters to come to orientation. And Natalie was like, are you going to come with me? Because I really still want you to be there, even though you work there. I'm like, of course I will. And I'm really glad I went because I learned about a lot of resources that are available for students. So I've been at the university for 22 years, but I work more on the service side, on the information technology side, and not so much on the student side. So I learned a lot of things that we offer, which is phenomenal. So happy to see all the support and stuff that we offer our students that I wasn't aware of. So we had orientation, and then last night we had Claire's end of year, I call it her cello recital. So the gentleman who does all of their private lessons, he does an actual concert twice a year where we get to see all of what they've been working on. And so we got to see Claire's final piece that she performed, and I actually posted it. I'm Facebook friends with most of you, so you probably saw me post that. It was gorgeous and beautiful. So we're happy to see that she's progressing well. And one thing that I didn't even mention to all of you, so this is one where I'm like, oh my goodness, I've been so tied up with graduation and stuff. But this year, Claire is still going to that Blue Lake Fine Arts Camp, which is a camp for band, string instruments, dance, everything. But she usually has always gone in August, and she's going for the first session. So we drop her off to camp already on the 22nd, which is next Wednesday, and I will have no contact with my little girl for 2 weeks. So it's one of those where you leave all electronics home, and she just focuses on playing that cello. And so she had to submit a placement video, so we're waiting to see where she gets placed into what orchestra and all that fun stuff. But anyway, so I see my comments just finally all caught up with me. So I see I've got Pat out here and Marsha, and another Carol and Janet. So welcome to everyone who I haven't officially welcomed. Kay, Philomena. So anyway, my comments all of a sudden just went poof and all come popping in. So so that is what we're going to be doing with Claire next week. And I'm like, seeing she's already packing because we have a busy weekend. So my birthday is next month. But my family knows that I love Josh Groban, and they purchased Josh Groban concert tickets for me, and the concert is tomorrow night. And so that's about 2.5 hours away. So, and they got like 3rd or 4th row seats for me. So hoping that my ear will cooperate, because I'm still struggling from that dang dang ear infection. But from there, we're going to be heading over to my mom's, and we have an open house over, and we're close to where my mom lives, for my cousin's daughter. So we're going to be out of town for part of the weekend, coming back on Saturday afternoon. But she's already packing, and it made me realize, oh my gosh, I didn't even think about the fact that she's going earlier this year. So anyway, no Claire for 2 weeks, but I'm doing better with it this year. Last year, I think, was the first year that she went after COVID, so I was a little worried about, you know, being gone, and you get kind of attached to them being home and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, oh, I'm going to have a blast. I cannot wait, even though, like I said, my ear's still a little muffled. I'm so excited. It's been, I always said when he comes to concert, I want to see him, and my family remembered that. I should say it was the girls who remembered that, and went to their dad and said, can we get tickets? So we're all going to see Josh Groban. So anyway, and thank you all for your comments with Claire and her playing. She has come such a long way with that little cello. I'm telling you, we still got to get her a new one. We're really struggling with getting that company to get back with us. So if any of you know a strings instrument store that is got quality products, please let me know, because we are struggling. There's only one close to us, and it's in Chicago, which is still about a 5 or 6 hour drive, but they're just not getting back with us. We're starting to feel like maybe they don't want our business. So putting it out there, if any of you know anyone, please, any area, let me know. At this point, we, you know, got to figure something out for her. She needs a new one pretty quickly here. And then another thing that I don't know if I mentioned to all of you is that so with Claire being gone next week, Natalie works full time now this summer. So she's working 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. So my house is going to feel a little bare when I'm home. I get to work home a couple days a week next week. So it's just going to be different. Kind of getting, I think, maybe a little sampling of what it might be like when they're both out of the house. All right. So anyway, that's what I have in the way of announcements. So it's still been a crazy busy week for us. But excited to be able to share all those things with the girls and stuff. All right, so if you shared my video, you got into my drawing to win a couple of prizes. Are you guys able to hear me okay? Because I just realized that Natalie did not hook up my microphone. So I may stand up and walk around and hook it up if any of you tell me that it's not, you can't hear me very good. So I just realized that she forgot to hook that in. But anyway, if you shared my video, you got into the drawing to receive prizes. So I have 2 winners. The winner of the Classic Matte Dots is Sarah Nessel. So congratulations to Sarah. And then the winner of the Bolt of Ribbon, which is the Soft Succulent Ribbon. Oh, good. You guys can hear me. Awesome. Is Terry McNamara. So congratulations to Terry and to Sarah. So I'm just going to go with it because I'm not going to be talking much more, and then we're going to go stamping anyway. So, all right. So those are the winners for sharing. Up for grabs this week. Now, again, remember to comment that you shared, because I am not able to, if you just share it, sometimes it does not show up in the shared area. So you have to comment shared. That is where I look when I go to put everyone's name in. So make sure that you do that, okay? You comment shared. Even on the replay, you may comment shared. All right, so up for grabs this next week is the Faux Sea Glass Shapes and the 2021-23 In Color Opal Rounds. These are gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. So, oh, Marsha, yeah, that's actually, so Marshall Music is where we have Claire's cello now. So Marshall Music is really geared towards like those first instruments to teach the kids how to play the instruments. But then when you want to actually buy like a better sounding quality one, you have to go to different kinds of stores. So they're more geared towards like high schools and things like that. So that's what she's got right now, and it's working, but she needs to get one that can do a little bit better job as she's advancing. So, all right, anyway, just a couple more things before we get started. Bingo, if you're doing my online bingo next Wednesday, your kit went out today. So be looking for that. I do still have, I think, 1 or 2 openings in that if anybody wants to play last minute, but those kits went out. If you're part of my In Color Club, I'm going to be billing you tonight or tomorrow morning, depending on how far I get on my to-do list after my Facebook Live. But your the In Color kits will be going out. I'm going to be invoicing you, and as soon as you guys pay those will be going out. I have them already and packaged. holiday catalogs and the celebration brochures are starting to arrive in your mailboxes. I've heard from a handful of you that you've received it. So I'm going to assume that means you're going to be receiving them over the next 7 to 10 days about. If you do not receive yours by the end of the month, let's say it's the 27th, 28th, let me know. Or if you're going to be coming, I have a fly bugging me. So if you see me swatting at it, that's what's going on here. But if you're going to be coming to my BOGO sale, which is scheduled the 24th and 25th, a Friday and Saturday from 9 to 1 here in my garage, and you don't have your catalogs yet, I'll get them to you then if you're local, okay? So again, make sure if you're local that you signed up for my BOGO sale. And just by signing up, just letting me know you want to come and give me a time. There is no official sign up this year. I'm not too worried about that. Last couple of years, I kind of made sure I had limited people here at a time. But I just kind of like to have an idea of when people come, because then I can go in the house when no one's out there and come out when people are there, that kind of thing. So BOGO sale the 24th and 25th. Everything is priced. I will be getting all of that out this next coming week. That's my Sunday job, is to clean that garage. And then my online version will begin probably the afternoon, early evening of the 25th. So as soon as my in-person one is done, we start taking pictures of all of the bundles and things, and they start getting uploaded to my Facebook group. So my Facebook group, I have a group. If you've been in the group the last couple years, you're still in the group. I use the same group. But how it works is all those my sale items get posted into albums. So it'll be bundles, it'll be designer paper, it'll be, you know, that kind of stuff. And then if you want something, you just comment want, and then I add it all up. So let's say you spend $85. You just give me an order for $85. Either you give me the order, I'll submit it for you, or you can order directly online. I provide a link for you to order directly online, and then I will ship you your goodies, and you just pay me the cost of shipping of the free goodies to you. So it's still a great way for my long distance a group to be able to participate and get all of my gently used stuff for free. Literally, it's for free because you're just paying me for that order. So you're basically going to get new stuff and take off all the retired stuff as well. So excited about that event. It's one of my events that I love to see that stuff go to a good home. I love to see the excitement on the faces of everybody getting their hands on good stuff. So anyway, I'm excited to be, that's going to be my little project this next coming week, is to get that all cared for. And then my June classes are all open. And again, thank you all for your patience. Sun Prints just opened. I haven't even had a chance to post the Sun Prints class yet to my Facebook presence here, but it was in my email. So make sure you join my email if you haven't. I always have that link in the description of the video. I'll also have the link in there for the Facebook group if you want to join the Facebook group for my online party. And then local classes. So if you wanted to come to a class the next 2 Mondays, June 20th or 27th from 3:30 until 8. Options are Swedish Cherries, He's All That, Hue of Happiness, and then all of those are also available for online for kits to be shipped to you. And then my awesome adhesive sale is still going on, so don't wait on that. There'll be a link in the description as well. This is each one of these bundles. Each bundle will tell you what's in it, but I can tell you that it's always oh, what is it? Mini glue dots, the green Tombow glue, and then it's either seal or seal refills, and then you get your dimensionals for free. So you save $4.25 by buying a bundle like this. So yeah. Oh my gosh, Lori, you already got your package today. That is just crazy. Wow, that is just crazy because those packages just went out. All right, so that is what I have in the way of announcements. One last thing is my birthday program. I would love for more of you to join my birthday program. I'll post the link, but basically I send you a birthday card. You just need to fill out there's a spot where you fill out your name and your address and your birthday, just your month and your date. I don't need the year. But I send you a birthday card, and you get an option to place a 20% off order the month of your birthday. So, that's optional, but just let me send you a birthday card. So I'd love to get cards out. So feel free. I would be posting that link if any of you will want to join that, you can. So, all right. So with that, I'm going to transition my camera down. I'm going to show you this beautiful bundle that is in our annual catalog. It's the one I chose to do tonight. And I'm hoping in the next week, I'll be able to play with some of the new stuff. I did play with some of it last night, but I'm not prepared to show it quite yet. I'm hoping to be able to play a little bit more with that tomorrow morning. But next week, I'm hoping that my Facebook Live will be some of the stuff from the new catalog that I can showcase you some stuff from that. All right, so with that, I'm going to transition my camera down and let's create some beautiful things with the Abigail Rose Bundle. Okay, so let's see here. Just going to transition this down, move my computer over so that I can see all of your comments as you are asking questions. And I don't have to unhook that speaker since Natalie never hooked it up, which I'm like surprised all of you could hear me good, but that's awesome. Okay, because like I said, I sound a little muffled to myself, so I'm hoping that I'm sounding pretty normal to all of you. So I agree, Courtney. They all need to join the club. That's what we do, is make cards, right? I mean, that's part of what we do. All right, make sure I get this adjusted so there's no glare. All right, so like I mentioned, I was going to make a really pretty 3D project for all of you using the mini pocket. So you guys, there's your little sneak peek. But I didn't have the right paper, and I'm so sorry. So I'm going to showcase you. I do have some little scraps of the paper I'm going to show you because I did a paper share, or a like a paper, what do you want to call it? I make these cute little paper shares for my team so they can showcase all the paper where they cut these in half and can showcase it. So I pulled some of the paper from that, but I'm going to also show you it in the catalog. But this is called the Abigail Rose. So you're just going to be able to see. Now this is also a class that I'll be offering. I believe it is the month of July. So this is one side of it, and it's just really nice neutrals, really nice pretty paper. And then on the back of it here you have these right here. So again, I'm sorry, this is the biggest I had to show you because I really thought I had one more pack, and when I came down here at like 5:30 I went, nope, I don't. All right, but that's the Abigail Rose Designer Series paper. And then you have a coordinating bundle. So the bundle is called Cottage Rose. So the neat thing is you're going to see me use this die in a really neat way. That's why it's sitting out, because I want to show you that in a bit. But here you have all of the dies to coordinate with this beautiful stamp set. Let me get them here. Usually I make sure they're nice and neat before I go live. All right, but you're gonna see how I use this one right here in a really neat, unique way. This one will cut out this one right here, and then you have ones that cut out all of the other shapes as well. So again, mine have been very well used. And you also have some pretty ribbon that goes with this bundle as well. So, oh, I put that one die away, and I wanted to showcase that one die. So hello to, I see Marilyn just joined, and so did Bev. Hello, ladies, and welcome, welcome. So I'm going to leave this die out because, like I said, you're going to see me use it in kind of a unique way on one of the cards. So I don't want to lose track of that. Okay. And then you have this really pretty ribbon that at first I saw it and was like, oh, that's going to be really wide to use with this product suite. But it's really not that hard to use at all. And you're going to see me use it in a kind of a way that I haven't used ribbon in a while. So on one of the cards, so you'll see that. But this is called gotta find it here, the Natural Finish Ribbon. Okay, it's got a lot of really good give to it, easy to use, not stiff ribbon at all. And this ribbon is $8.50, but you get a lot of it. You get how many yards is on here? I think it's 10. So you get quite a bit. Yeah, approximately 10 yards. So you get quite a bit of ribbon on this one. And then the colors that are in this paper, that I didn't mention those, is Petal Pink, Early Espresso, Crumb Cake, Very Vanilla, Smoky Slate, and Basic Black. So thank you, Philomena. I went really plain today with my nails. I got them done today. And I said, just do pink. I'm just feeling pink. He's like, nothing on them? And I said, no, not this time. So anyway, Marilyn, yes, you could cut it in half. It will fray a little bit. As you can see, it does doing this right here on the end. So it does fray a little bit, but you could cut it in half if you wanted to. I think it would work just as well. But it is such a fun ribbon to use. Now, one of the things I'm going to show you that they show in the catalog is that you can actually stamp on this ribbon as well. So let me find a Post-it note here or something that I can use. I don't have grid paper handy. But I love the ribbon too. I didn't know, like I said, Courtney, when I first got it, I was like, I don't know. But I'm going to show you. So we're just going to put that down, how easy it is to stamp on this. You can stamp using any color that you want, but again, I'm just going to show you. I brought black here to kind of showcase this. So this is the leaf stamp set, the leaf from the stamp set of the Cottage Rose. So hi, Gail, and welcome. So again, you have your, and I have dimensional backings everywhere. So this is just the little leaf right here. And I'm just going to go into the Memento black ink, and you're going to see you're just going to stamp directly down, right up, and you have a really neat image. So if you wanted to, you could stamp again. If you would need big, paper that's a little bit longer, but you could stamp along some of this and make your own little pattern as well. So kind of a neat little thing that you can do with this ribbon. Okay, and you want to let it dry. Like, I'm not going to touch it right now. You're going to want to let that dry really good, but you can stamp on this. It does seem wide, Beth, until, like I said, I kind of played with it, and so hopefully when you see how I've used it on these cards, it'll give you a little bit of more ideas of things that you can use it for and do with it as well. So I'm just going to trim that off there and put that to the side. So neat little thing you can do with that ribbon. Okay, so let's get started making our first card. Let me see what I have here first. Now I do also have, and Carol, I forgot to bring down my host code piece of paper. So I will have to post it later because it's sitting on my table upstairs. I was in a hurry to get down here. But anybody who puts in a minimum $30 order from now through Sunday night, you will receive 3 of these cards in the mail, completed, already done for you cards. And they're great for, we actually used this one for graduation. Natalie chose this one to give out to a couple of her friends. Marilyn asked a question, does the ink go through? A little bit. You can see there it is a little bit, but not too bad. Can you see it kind of soaking through? So I would definitely let it dry before you adhere it to any of your projects. Okay, good question, Marilyn. So for this card, I chose to use Early Espresso. So on this card, you would need to add an insert if you were going to do any kind of writing. We chose to write with a white chalk pen, so that's what we did. But this is, like I said, one of the cards that Natalie gave one of her friends for graduation. So this is my card base. It is the 8.5 by 5.5. And then I use the crumb cake. So because the color scheme, Carol, there will be a host code. I will make sure I post it in the description. If it wasn't inappropriate for me to holler upstairs like I do when I'm designing and say, hey girls, can you bring me down, da-da-da-da-da-da, that's what they're used to getting, but I don't want to do that. Anyway, here's a 5.25 by 4 mat that I put on top there. So here you can see I just used the ribbon by going straight across, laying it nice and flat. And then I did a 4x3 piece of Designer Series paper. So you can see here, if you're ever struggling with trying to design cards and stuff, let the paper do the work for you. I always say that. So what colors are in this paper? So first of all, on the back of the pack of the paper, it tells you, or in the catalog here, it tells you all the different colors. So in looking at this, I know that this has got to be Crumb Cake and Early Espresso, because those are the colors that are in the paper. So that is why I chose to use those 2 to start with. And then I like to add a pop of color. Well, the color in there is Petal Pink. So I chose to add Petal Pink behind this, so it's 4.25 by 3.25. And when I added that down, I still felt that it needed another little pop. So I did a 4.5 by 3.5 of the Early Espresso, and to me, it just made it. Doesn't it just make it go voila? So anyway, so we're gonna adhere this down using some of our seal here, and then you're gonna see me add down the little, I do really have though, Carol, I gotta tell you, that little handout done, and it's printed, like I said, and I know my kids are in the kitchen making dinner, so you may hear me holler to have one of them bring that down. But I would walk away from the camera here, so I'm gonna do that. Give me 30 seconds. Hey, Natalie? Natalie, on top of my work bag is my printout with my host code. Can you bring it down? Thank you. All right, so I did it, you guys. Sorry. All right, she's gonna bring that down. And then I adhered this down to the center here. Here it comes. Can you guys hear her coming down the stairs? Sorry, you're getting the real live version of us here tonight. Claire, can you cut that apart there? Just cut that top off. So I just had the top. All right, and then from there, we're gonna add that awesome ribbon. So the ribbon is just gonna go right straight across here. I didn't do any stamping on it, but let me show you what it would look like if you did add the one with some stamping. So it just gives it a little bit more variation there, right? And you can cut off the top part too. Make it as skinny as you can. All right, so we're just going to cut the ribbon here. You guys are so awesome for bearing with me through that. I gotta wait for my scissors because I just told her to cut the paper, so, you know.
Sorry.
All right, thank you, Claire. Here it is, ladies, my new host code. All right, or the host code for June. All right, so I'm just gonna add a little bit of adhesive here to the sides, and we're going to add that here right across the middle. Told you I had it done, just was not down here. All right, I'm gonna move it up though, so it's out of my way for when we work here. And then I'm going to adhere this down to my card base. So again, you just go to my website, kimsbasementbunch.com. The host code is there, but I also have it on this sheet nice and big so that you guys can see it. So then I'm just gonna adhere that down. And then I used a sentiment from the stamp set. So it is the "You Are Positively the Greatest." So I kept using the same stamp set for all of these. And this is one of our punches. And what I found is that if you layer, this is a neat little layering. I should remember the name of this, and I don't off the top of my head, but it's in our annual catalog, I do believe. But I wanted to add this down to the card, but I thought it needed something behind it. And so I ended up finding one of the circles, just playing with the circles from the layering circles, and it goes behind here perfectly, just to give it a little bit more look where you have the round part. So I just adhered this together. And I will look up that punch and comment in the comments. Forgot that I used that punch. But you see how it just gives it a nice, let me do this so you guys can see it better. Isn't that cool? Just gives it a nice little look on the top and the bottom. And then we're going to adhere that down with some dimensionals. So, and I like doing sentiments on using our punches. To me, it just makes it really easy to be able to make it a quick card. Now the embellishment that I chose, thank you, Beth. The embellishment that I chose to use for my card tonight, or all these cards, is the Iridescent Pearls. And you can see I put a dimensional on all four corners, and normally I don't do that. It's because I wanted it to stick off the ribbon, because the ribbon's so wide that if I would have put the two in the middle, this would have been flimsy and floppy on there. So that is why it went all the way across. Again, another little tip and trick that I like to make sure I tell all of you. So here are the Iridescent Pearls, and all I'm going to do is add a pearl to this area here, and you can add them wherever you would like. But I'm just going to add one here, one there. I think that's all I did. Yeah. And there you have a really quick and simple card. I mean, very easy. The paper's gorgeous. Adding a sentiment, not even adding any roses because the roses are on the paper. But how pretty is that? So pretty, right? All right. Thank you, Carol. All right. So that is card number 1. Now let me find my card number 2. And I'm going to go in the order in which they are on my stack here. I love it. Thank you guys for loving that. Okay, next is this one right here. Ooh and ah, right? Isn't this a pretty one too? Okay, so for this one, when I design for all of you, I like to showcase and use all of the Designer Series paper. There's 2 reasons why I design that way. So again, you're going to hear another little tip and trick of how I design. So I don't want to have tons of the paper left over of one pattern. So when I design a class, I try to use all of it, but I do that for 2 reasons. So you all have an idea of how to use all of the paper as well. So this was the last card that I created. I remember this well, and the paper just didn't really draw to me too much because it was just vanilla and black. And I'm like, what am I going to do with this? And then it came to me to kind of make it more of a subtle black and white card, but adding, or ivory and white, but adding a little bit of color. So for this one, I chose to use the great big stamped image right here. Die cut that cuts that out perfectly. And then you can see here I did that ribbon in that little zigzag. And yes, it's a wide ribbon for that, but I think it looks great because it really focuses in on that focal point. So let's get this card together and I'll show you how easy this one is to assemble. So Very Vanilla is my card base on this one. And then I have a layer of basic black that's cut 5 1/4 by 4. And then I have a piece of the, oh, and I should have mentioned on, oh no, I didn't do any embossing on that one. Never mind. Oh, well, did I? Yes, I should have mentioned on this first card, I did emboss with an embossing folder. And once again, I didn't check the name of that, but I will here in just a minute because I think it's the same one that I used for all of my cards. And I wanted it to be more of an elegant looking one. So this one that I chose to use is called the Dook Dook. I will find it here. Maybe. Trying to think of which one this is. It is called the Quatrefoil Tile. So I think it goes with the linen set, but I chose to use it for this one. And it's what I used on the last card as well. So just so you're aware of that. And then I cut a 2-inch strip of paper, 2 inch by 5, and then cut a 2 1/4 inch by 5 to lay this behind to just make that pop a little bit. So let's get some of this adhered down together here. So I'm just gonna adhere the Very Vanilla to the basic black. And then I'm going to adhere this piece down to the strip here of basic black. Again, it's 1/4 inch bigger. And if it's a little bit over, because that happens sometimes when you're cutting, you just trim that off. So hi to Penny and welcome. And that's the neat thing with doing a Facebook Live. You can always go back and watch what you missed. So that's kind of cool. And this I went ahead and put on right in the middle of my layer here. Just like that. Now I'm going to move my card base out of the way because I want to be able to show you how I did that ribbon. Or that, yeah, the ribbon. I was going to call it lace. So because this is a little bit more of a wider ribbon, you can see I added a pretty good strip of adhesive down to my card. And then all I did was brought this in. And I'm just going to make it, I need to cut this at an angle. Usually I do that, but I didn't this time. And I'm just going to do a little zigzag here. So bringing that down. And it will lay flatter as time goes on. So if you're a little bit worried about it not laying as flat, it will. It will. So I'm just going to lay that down. And now it's going to look like it's going to be raised up. But remember, we're going to be putting this great big thing here on it. So I'm just going to trim that one down. And then what I did in advance is I stamped and cut out with the machine the little flower, and we're going to add a little bit of color to that. So all I did was I used some of the Petal Pink blends, and I'm thinking I used the light one. I'm just going to add a little bit of light color. You can see that this design has some little lines in the flower, and so all I did was added a little bit of color over top of some of those lines. I added a lot of color to the center. And I don't even think I used the dark on this one. I really wanted this card to just be more of, what do they call that? Monochrom or whatever it's called. So it's just like the two colors and not, I just wanted to add a little bit here to this. So there you have it. And then I did the same thing with my light granny apple green. I added a little bit of color to some of these leaves. Same kind of thing, just kind of added a little bit of color in. This one I may have actually done a little bit more color, but for this one I'm not going to. The sample I'm making now here, just adding a little bit of color to that. And then that is going to get adhered down to my card. Now what I did on this one is I did use dimensionals to adhere that down on top of that ribbon. And you're going to see it's going to hold that down very, very nicely. So we're going to find the dimensionals that I threw somewhere. Here we are. Here we go. Okay. And I'm just going to add some dimensionals to my card or to my flower here. so that's another little way. I know that I use the zigzaggy ribbon a lot, but now I will say this ribbon probably would not have worked this way had this stamped image not been a bigger stamped image, because with this being bigger, it kind of gives a little bit more, doesn't show that you have as much ribbon behind it. But it's still pretty, right? Really nice way to use that. And then I stamped the happy birthday sentiment on a 1/2-inch strip of the vanilla cardstock. And this one I'm just going to cut at a little angle like that. And I'm going to cut it down a little bit on this side. So again, I just stamped this. This is all stamped using Memento black ink. I should have mentioned that my first card that I did stamp using Early Espresso ink. And then I'm just going to put that on with a couple of dimensionals as well. So isn't it so pretty? This paper reminds me of some black. This card actually reminds me, I can't remember the name of it, but when I first started doing Stampin' Up, my second year, they had some really pretty ivory and black designer series paper, and it had lots of different flowers and stuff. And I didn't like it at first, but it ended up being a class that a lot of people really liked. And this card kind of reminded me of that. So there you go. Then the final thing is to top it off with some of those rhinestones. So again, these are the iridescent pearl rhinestones. So I put one in the center. I'm going to put one over here at the end. And then I put a few up here in the area right up here as well. So you could add a couple more or as many as you want to some of these little areas here. So that's kind of what I did. Thank you, everyone. I'm glad you liked them. Yeah, so that is that one. And again, if you wanted to add more color, because this one you can probably see a little bit more color, you could go back in with your dark and add a few more little highlights to it if you wanted to, your dark petal pink. But again, I just wanted it to kind of be very, very simple. This would also be a good wedding card. You know, I like it. Thank you, Pat. I love your comment. So yeah, so that would be a really, really, really good wedding card as well. All right, so there is card number 2. All right, we're going to get to what I call the hardest card of all. Not really, but a more of a tedious card. How's that? All right, so remember me talking to you about the die that I was going to showcase for you. So you could use this die in many different ways. You could cut all those out and paste them down as separate little flowers. I chose to cut this out, and you're going to see it right here. Here's it cut out. And then I chose to layer a lot of these little flowers to make a flower like this. And for this, I did use a sponge. So you're going to want to use a sponge dauber if you have it. We don't sell the sponges anymore, but we do still sell the sponge daubers. I just still use the sponge because it's what I'm used to using. I didn't use all of these little pieces, so I think I punched out the ones that I mainly needed for the project. But you can see that they come out really, really well, really, really easy. And then all I did was using my petal pink ink, I inked around the edges of these. Now, when I put my flowers together, they may not look identical to the one here because I don't let myself get too worried about making sure that it looks just like a sample or whatever. But what I did is I inked around the edges of all of these just to kind of make them pop a little bit. So we're going to take a couple of minutes to do that. So here you see I'm just doing some inking around the edges. So when I layer them, they're going to show up a little bit better. And I love doing that. Now you could also have done different colors if you wanted your flowers to look different. But I, again, wanted to stick with the petal pink. So, I knew this card would take me a little bit longer, but it's worth it. So I want you guys to see the versatility and the different ways in which you can use all of these great products, okay? So I'm just going to ink a couple more here. So this is the relaxing part. I remember one year I made a Christmas card. It was before I was before I was a demonstrator, and I did a lot of inking. It was a lot of like ink distressing around layers and stuff. And I remember watching TV and doing that with my kids, watching TV when they were small. Oh, the memories, right? Okay. And then what I did for the stems, you can see I colored them just a little bit more heavily with the ink. So I'm just going to ink on top of these. If I had grid paper down, it would make it a little bit easier, but just going to add a little bit of color down to this. Which way did I go with that? Oh, it went this way. So you can see nothing too fancy, just adding some colors. Okay, so now we have all those pieces ready to go as I throw the sponge across the table. Literally it went bouncing. All right, I'm gonna put those to the side and I'm gonna show you how I kind of built this card. So for this one, I wanted to use all of the different papers. So this paper is more of your plain pattern paper and not part of the whole flower themed. And because this paper brings in the gray, I chose to use Smoky Slate. So I paired it with Smoky Slate. So Smoky Slate is my card base, my 5.5 by 8.5 piece. And then I have my Very Vanilla that is 5.25 by 4. And then my designer series paper set was on the back, but I chose to use this side, cut 5 by 3 3/4. So we're just going to adhere those together real quick. So that's going to get adhered onto there. This one I did not use any of the ribbon. I just used some of those pretty iridescent pearls. And then that's going to get adhered down to there. Again, I used that same embossing folder, did a couple of squares. I believe this is 3 by 3 and then 3.25 by 3.25. So those two I did indeed adhere together. And then this went down on the card using some dimensionals. Thank you, Carol. Yeah, so this card is kind of going to look different than all the rest. But I just wanted to kind of have you see how fun it is to use that die. Okay, taking off the little dimensionals, throwing them on the corner of my table. Adhere that down to the top there. And then on the bottom, I have my little strip here that is 3/4 by 3.25. So it goes to the same side, the same length. And then this is a 1/2 by 2 3/4. So I used the Friends Forever. So this would be a great card to send to a friend. And this is just going to get adhered in here. So since I had this top framed, I wanted to frame this part. So instead of just using a little strip, I matted it with the pretty Petal Pink. All right, so we're ready for the most fun part, which is layering of those awesome flowers. All right, so bringing my flowers back in now, my little flower pieces. I'm gonna kind of, oh, my take your pick tool is running away on me. All right, there we go. I'm gonna kind of layer them how I might think I want them here. So I'm gonna do that one, and then I'm gonna do this one, I think. And then I'm gonna do this one. So again, you can kind of layer them however you wanna layer them. I don't think I'm gonna do them identical because that wouldn't be no fun. And then this little one, I'm going to do, so this one's gonna go here. So I'm not gonna take the time to actually adhere these all to the card, but you'll get the idea. So here you could either use glue dots or you could use your liquid glue. And then I literally just layered all these together, laid them on top there like that. And then this one, let's pick some more here. We'll do this one. So you can tell I'm purposely making it look different because I don't want you to get too tied up on what one do I use where, because it's just going to look pretty no matter what you use. So, you know, you could even add another layer to that. So how fun is that to just layer that and make your own cute little flowers? Now, if you wanted to, you could also do your stems green, or you could have, but again, I wanted to keep it just those 2 color tones, but a cute little card. And then I topped it off with some of those pearls in the center of the flowers and a couple up here at the top. Fun, right? Okay, so that, like I said, I'm not going to take the time to, I still have 2 more cards to go, and I looked at the clock and go, oh, we have 15 minutes. Okay, so my next one, let me see here, is, oh, this one right here. So this time, again, I wanted to showcase another stamp from the Cottage Rose stamp set, and so I chose this one right here. Okay, and again, this template of this card was a great use of the ribbon, just laying it nice and flat on there and tying the ribbon in. So for this one, I again started with some of the neutral colors. So I started with my crumb cake, and I think I started with the paper and then went, oh, I'm using crumb cake and early espresso again. But if I'm going to be adding a flower, I'm going to color that flower in. So what color do I want to use? Again, keeping with my color palette of that petal pink, I chose to do the petal pink. So I added a matte of petal pink, colored the flower using the petal pink blend. So we're going to go ahead and make this card. This is the not soft suede, crumb cake that is 5.5 by 8.5. And then we're going to do some layering. Again, layer, layer, layer. So 5 1/4 by 4 early espresso. 5 1/4 by 4 petal pink, 5 by 3 3/4 early espresso. And that's going to be layered down here. And then 2 pieces of designer series paper cut 2.5 by 3.5. They're going to overlap just a little bit. So I could have made them a little bit smaller if I wanted to, because that ribbon would have covered all of them up. So we are going to adhere these two together here. So I'm going to adhere that to my petal pink. And then we'll adhere our designer series paper pieces here. One to the top up here. And those of you know, I'm going to turn it to the side. It's just kind of how I roll. And then I'm going to turn it to the other side. This is my left-handedness coming out. I'm so sorry. And again, you could use other sides of the paper if you really wanted to. And then we're going to add that ribbon, that really pretty natural ribbon. Thank you, Lori. I think this one is too. I love it. All of these cards that I'm showcasing for you tonight could really be used for so many things. They could be made into wedding cards, anniversary cards. You know, there's certain bundles out there that Stampin' Up! Has that you really can't use for just about anything, but I feel this one is one that you really could. You know, there isn't a sympathy sentiment in it, but some of these would even make really good sympathy cards as well. So adding a little bit of adhesive there, I'm going to wrap this around and then adhere this to the card. You know, and one of the things I was thinking as I was, thank you, Peggy, I do too. That was what I was kind of going for with this set of cards, was to have it look more just like that, tone on tone color. But you could, again, you could get creative and you could pull in, instead of pulling in petal pink, you could also have pulled in different colors, yellow, and you know, so saffron may have looked nice. I just kept with the whole petal pink theme. That's kind of what I was going for. So then to figure out the sizes of these, again, all I did was measure this little piece right here. And I believe this is a 2 by 2, and this is a 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. But what I did is I just kind of measured this, and that was the size that I knew I needed for the smallest one, and then added the next size one size up, okay? So I'm going to adhere this down to my layer of the early espresso, and then that's going to get put on here with some dimensionals and be right in the middle here. So let me bring in dimensionals. Well, that's good, and that is the whole point, Peggy, is that I gave you guys ideas on how to use these awesome products. So I'm glad you like that. And I will say, you know, sometimes when I first opened up this paper, I will say I had to sit there and I wouldn't say think, but I'm like, okay, what is it that I want to do with this? Because, you know, it isn't, it's beautiful paper, but it's not the easiest to start with when you're designing because there isn't a lot of color into it. So you really have to kind of think that through and think, well, what is it that I want with this? What kind of cards do I want to make with it? And then kind of go from there. So for this, I'm going to color it all with the light petal pink first. And then we'll go back in and do a little bit of the shading with the dark. So petal pink light is what I am coloring on here right now. You can see I'm kind of a messy colorer. Nothing's too fancy with me. And then I'm going to go back on top of it on some of these lines with my dark. So use those lines and those stamped images to let you know where you might want to add a little bit of the dark color. So you don't have to overthink that, right? And then I have the happy birthday stamped on, again, a 1/4 or a 1/2 inch strip of very vanilla cardstock. And going to add a couple dimensionals onto the two ends here. And voila! there is another card. And then we're going to add a couple of those little pearls here. I added one to the center, and I'm going to add one over here again. But you could get creative and add them wherever you would like to add them. There you have one more card. I have one more left for you. Now this next one that you're going to see, this ribbon technique is one of the techniques of the ribbon use that I learned early on when I was a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. So some of you who have been stamping for a while may be like, oh my gosh, I remember when we used to make cards doing that. So if you're one of them, comment and let me know. But I wanted to add ribbon to this card, and I didn't want to just add it straight across again. So I wanted to get creative. And this is a way that we used to add ribbon. Again, when I first started doing card making, this is something that I learned probably my very first 6 to 8 months into creating. So I'm going to show you how to make this little riggedy looking ribbon on there. But isn't it pretty? It gives it a different look. Still lays nice and flat. So I'm going to show you how I did that. So for this card, again, I used the same flower here, and I love that one. Isn't that cool? And then I just layered it with some of the circles from the layering circles. So I used the crumb cake again, and knowing again that I was going to color that. Oh, Philomena remembers it. Yes, it's something that I haven't seen it used in a long time, and so I kind of went back to some basics there. So for this one, I have a 4x3 piece of designer series paper. And then I started doing some layering until I liked how it looked. So I layered it behind this, and I set it down and went, no, it needs a pop of color. So then I cut another one. So this one is cut 4 1/4 by 3 1/4. So then I cut one 4 1/2 by 3 1/2, laid it on there and went, okay, maybe. But you know me, didn't stop there, so we had to add yet another layer. So we're going to do some layering of cardstock and pieces together. So we're going to lay this 4x3 piece onto my 4 1/4 by 3 1/4 piece. And then we're going to adhere this one down to my 4 1/2 by 3 1/2. And then that would be 4 3/4 by 3 3/4 if I do my math right. So, you know, yeah, maybe this is a bit excessive. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and adhere this down to our card. And then I'm going to show you that neat little technique of how I did the ribbon. Thank you, Philomena. I'm a layering person. All right. So that ribbon, here's how I was taught to do the ribbon. Now, I'm a lefty, so I'm going to be starting from this way going across. My righties out there, you may start from this way going across, okay? So I apologize if I'm going to screw you up a little bit. I'm going to do the best that I can. So what you do is you add a piece or adhesive all the way across where you want to put that ribbon. So I'm just going to add some pretty good adhesive there. Then you're going to bring your ribbon into play here, and I want to start it off by cutting it at an angle. So I am just a weird angle person. What you're going to do is you're going to start, I actually want to have this go off a little bit, so you need to add a little bit more adhesive. So all you're going to do is add your adhesive there, and then what you do is you kind of pull your ribbon down and adhere it as you're doing this. Pull it up, adhere it, down, adhere it. So you're just going to kind of go back and forth with it. Can you kind of see the look you're getting? Go back and forth with it over top of that adhesive strip. Nothing fancy, bunching it in a little bit. Again, you kind of see how that's working, and you just got to kind of play with it. I pull it kind of tight, pull it up, pull it back down, bunch it in, and just kind of keep going with it till you get all the way to the ends. Look at that. Isn't that kind of a cool way to add? And I think I went up a little, but that's okay. We're going to bring it back down. There we go. In my haste of making sure that I was doing it right. All right, and I'm just going to cut this off. It doesn't matter because no one's going to see the very end. My circle's going to go there. But it's nice and flat, still lays perfect. So a neat little way to add some ribbon, and a little bit of a different, unique way with, especially with this ribbon that I know sometimes you can struggle with how to use that. Okay, so then I layered a couple circles, and they're going to go right here. I did ink around the edge of this one. So thank you, Marsha. And Janet, yeah, so just a neat little way. And you can do that with any of our ribbons as long as they're easy to work with. If it's more of a stiffer ribbon, you're gonna struggle with that a little bit more. It's not gonna lay as nice for you. Okay, so for this one, I'm just gonna ink around the edges of that circle. I am gonna close up my ink because I'm kind of a Nazi about that. And I'm gonna adhere the circle. These are just circles from the layering circles. And then because, again, this is a wider ribbon, you want to add your dimensionals to be here and here, so it's going to go over top that ribbon because that ribbon is a little bit bulky, okay? So yeah, I hope that all of you take that ribbon and try that with that because it's kind of a neat, or any ribbon, it's kind of a neat little way of using some ribbon. So you're going to want to make sure you get that to adhere down because it is a little bit bulky, but it still works. It's still nice and flat. And then what you're going to do is you're going to, now I don't think there was a die for this flower, which I was kind of surprised. So I think this one I did indeed fussy cut out, but I wanted it to be dimensioned on. I think I actually just glued it straight on since this was kind of puffy already with the ribbon, but we're going to color this with our blends here in a minute. So, well, I'm glad you liked it, Gail. Yeah, like I said, as I was thinking, I'm like, I know what I'm gonna do. I haven't done this I don't know where it came from because I don't think I've ever showcased it on one of my Facebook Lives, but it was one of the first ribbon things that I learned. So it was really popular back in many years ago. How's that? So I've been a demonstrator. It'll be 12 this fall, and I did this for 2 years before I joined. So that'll tell you it's been a while. Okay. Gonna color this in. Again, I'm using the light. And I probably could have colored it before I cut it out, but you know, got a little bit ahead of myself. And that one I'm not gonna, I don't think, even worry about adding any of the dark to it because I just kind of like it nice and subtle. I'm gonna add a couple dimensionals onto that. Add my flower on. Feel better soon. Isn't that a nice one? So this has become my new thing because it's quick and easy. Just to slice that off and not do the little banner. Adding a couple dimensionals to that. So if you are a dimensional fanatic like I am, you can get some dimensionals for free in those awesome adhesive bundles I have going on. So yeah. The ribbon is very, very flexible, Peggy. It is very flexible. So let me just unravel it. Look at this. You can see I'm just like putting it in a little ball. I mean, this ribbon is very, very flexible. The only thing is it's not going to be the best ribbon for tying a bow or tying a knot because then your card's going to have to cost a little bit more to send. So that is where this ribbon is really nice for that. Very simple and easy to use. Okay, and then you're going to add a little, I'm going to add a big one of these bigger little gems to that. And there you have it. What do you think? Isn't that a neat little technique? So again, the ribbon's going to kind of look like it's coming up, but you want to make sure you put some really good strips on there. So Peggy, as far as a ribbon, the wider is where you're going to want to use it more straight and flat. But if it's some ribbon that is not quite as wide, you can still tie your little bows on it and things like that. So it's kind of personal preference when it comes to that. So let me bring all my cards back in. Thank you, everyone. These were so fun. Like I said, once I kind of had an idea, again, anybody who puts in that minimum $30 order will get into the draw, or not drawing. You will receive, sorry, I'm used to saying that, but you will receive 3 of these cards already done, sent to you, probably ones that are right here on this pack. And I know that this is also a class that you'll be seeing that I'm going to be offering. This class will be offered in July, I think. So July, I'm doing a little bit of holiday catalog stuff and a little bit of annual catalog stuff. So here you have it. I need to actually adjust this all down. I'm sorry, you guys, you can't see them all. So these are the cards. And like I said, I did have a 3D project screwed up on my paper. Didn't have the paper here. So I will still showcase that project because it's a cute little little bag using our mini pocket die. So anyway, I hope you all enjoyed tonight's presentation, and next week I will post for you what you're going to be seeing on Monday. I'm hoping that it's going to be something new from the holiday catalog, so that I'm able to share with you some things from that's going to be coming out here in just a couple weeks. All right, so thank you all so very much. Be looking for all those links to be in my description of my video. If not tonight, at least by noon tomorrow is when I have all those out there. And this will also be uploaded to YouTube. So if any of you want to go back and catch it on replay and can't find it on Facebook, all of my videos I do upload to YouTube, so make sure you find me, search for Kim Vogel on YouTube, subscribe to that channel so you can always go back and reference all of these awesome videos that I do. All right, thank you all so very much for joining me. Enjoy your weekend. Happy Father's Day to all of our dads out there, and I look forward to seeing you all back here next week. Bye, everyone.